guys, it's Brianna. Welcome back to my channel. If you aren't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button right down below, as well as turn on my post notifications so you can be notified every single time I upload a new video. Now, today's video is my first video of 2020. I almost said like 2018. That is definitely not the year that we're in. So it is 2020. I have not made a video, kind of been off the grid for a bit, and maybe I'll talk about that in like an upcoming vlog or something. It really hasn't been much. Basically, I got sick on Christmas, and then I was just like out for like a week. I was just really not feeling well. Then I had company in town for like a week, and now I'm about to go back to school in a couple of days, so I've just been kind of laying low, really relaxing. I've been applying for internships. I have been just doing all the things to kind of get prepared for this upcoming semester. I have an internship right now, and I've been working and doing that as well. So I've been pretty busy, and so I really just haven't prioritized filming, which sucks. But my favorite thing to do is vlog, and I just didn't really want to vlog at home because I wasn't doing anything. I was literally like just at home because it's been like snowing and stuff, so I can't really leave the house too much, and the weather's just been kind of poopy. So yeah, vlogging wouldn't have been that interesting. Would have just been my boring life. But as soon as I get back to campus, I will be vlogging because I already have so much going on. Like that very first week, I only have classes on Tuesday, Thursday this year, which is amazing. And that leaves my Monday, Wednesday, Fridays open, but pretty much my definitely my Wednesdays and Fridays are going to be taken for my internship. I'm just be doing stuff like that. I have meetings on meetings already. I'm doing fun, other exciting things on campus this semester, which I'm excited about. Yeah, there's just a lot going on. I'm sure I will talk about more of this when I get back to school and I start vlogging. Yeah, there's just a lot of changes coming this upcoming year as well. I'm excited about though. I think it should be good. So I'm excited for this semester, but today's video is on a completely different subject, and that is study abroad. So I studied abroad this past summer. Most amazing experience in college so far. Loved it. Like, it was awesome. So a lot of you guys are probably leaving to study abroad right now, or you might already be studying abroad. And so today I wanted to do just a quick Q&A and just answer a bunch of your guys' questions about studying abroad. I've been getting so many comments on my videos from this summer. I think a lot of people are watching them. They are now some of my like most popular videos on my channel, which is awesome because it was such a great experience for me. If you don't know, a little background about my study abroad experience before I go into the Q&A. Basically, I studied abroad this past summer, and it was like kind of an affiliate program through my school. So I went with 40 other people from my school. Two of my teachers that are in the business school, I'm in the business school. I go to the University of Missouri. I'm in the Chulask College of Business. So basically, I went with a group of people from my school over, and we went to Prague, Czech Republic. Fantastic place to study abroad. Love that place. Won't go into too much detail about that. You guys can watch my videos from this summer from study abroad. I will link all of them down below for you guys. They're all pretty informative. I feel like they're pretty good videos. I really enjoyed making them. Yeah, if you're looking for packing tips as well, watch that video. Because there's just so much good information in there. And I also do want to make a video about kind of my tips for studying abroad, so I'm going to make that really soon. And these can apply for if you've left already, or even if you haven't left already. There's a couple things in there that I want to talk about. So yeah, did that. So it was through my school, which made it way easier. I was taking classes. I took one class with my professor, and that was Finance 3000. So a professor from my school came over with us. This was like about a 5-week program. It was like 4-ish, almost 5 weeks. So took one class with my professor. It was 2 hours a week, not 2 hours a week. It was 2 hours a day, for 4, sometimes 5 days a week. No, it's definitely 4 days a week. So 2 hours. And then I had another class right after that was also 2 hours. And that was with a professor from the Czech Republic that taught at that school. So my other class was like this global marketing class, and we actually have a different professor every single week. So we had a professor from France, and then we had a professor from Germany for a couple weeks, and then we had a professor from Scotland or Ireland. I don't know which one she was from, but she was awesome. She was my favorite one. So we had a couple of different professors in that class, and that was really awesome because it was definitely a very global perspective of marketing. So those were the two classes I took over there. Really fantastic. For both of them, I like got credit through my school since I went through my school. So obviously, a lot of study abroad programs are not like that. You're not going to go through your school. You're not going to be with a bunch of people from your school. You might choose the same program as other people from your school, or maybe even your friends, but generally speaking, you probably aren't going to know a whole lot of people where you're going, and it's probably going to be a school that's more directed for study abroad. We had class like with Czech students. It actually wasn't even a lot of Czech students. It was people from literally like all over the world, which was a really awesome experience. So yeah, I did that. traveled on the weekends, did all of that. If you guys want more information about that, once again, I'll link all my videos down below, but I don't want to waste too much time talking about me. I want to do the Q&A and talk about the questions that you guys want answered. So let's get started. So the first question is, did it scare you to do a program where you didn't know anyone? So if you guys don't know, I originally didn't know like anyone. Like I knew of a few people that I was studying abroad with, but I was like not really friends with anyone. So going in, I literally didn't know anyone. Like we had little pre-departure meetings where we kind of got to meet everyone, which is super helpful. I'm glad that my school did that. So I was able to make friends and figure out like who I was rooming with and stuff like that. But originally coming in, I almost like dropped the program because I didn't know anyone and I was super scared to study abroad and travel abroad, not knowing anyone, because I knew I wanted to study, or I knew I wanted to travel on the weekends, and I didn't want to do that alone because that can be very scary. But I'm glad that I put myself out there. There was a couple other girls that also didn't know anyone else, and so it ended up working out to super well because I ended up becoming friends with them. I actually reached out to them on Instagram like after our first meeting, and I was like, hey, I would like love to meet for like coffee or something like that. Like I don't know anyone else in the study abroad group, and you seem like really cool. Like would you want to do that? And I'd be like, sorry, this is weird, but it was not weird to like reach out to those people because they felt, you know, ultimately the same way that I did. And we ended up traveling so well together. Like we just got each other. We understood when each other was, you know, hungry, mad, sad, whatever. We would have dance parties together. We sang like literally all the time. I just have the funniest Snapchats on my phone. And we all just like got along really well. So Casey and Jenner are like some of my like very best friends to this day. And so don't be scared to go alone because you will find other people that are just like you that also went alone, and they're going to be willing to be open to doing pretty much anything because they're probably just literally feeling the same way as you and in the same boat as you. So don't be scared to go alone. I know that it's scary, and maybe even for your parents or family, they're scared to have you go alone abroad, but I promise you, you'll be fine. It'll work out. Don't freak out, but also don't just like kind of stay holed up and not talk to anybody. You're gonna have to talk to people. You're gonna have to reach out to people, or it will be a miserable experience if you don't know anyone else. So get out of your comfort zone, talk to people. A lot of people are asking how much money should you bring, how much money should you save or take out in loans and stuff. It really depends on the program. I did a ton of budgeting before, and one of my biggest tips is to like plan out your trips beforehand. Obviously, if you're going for an entire semester, you can't plan out your trips for the whole entire semester because you don't know who you're going to go with. You don't know any of that, so that's totally fine. I would just kind of keep in mind what places you would like to go to and kind of start researching them. I would say that generally speaking, the more Eastern Europe you go, the little bit cheaper it's going to be, and the more Western Europe you go, it's going to be more expensive. So if you're wanting to go to places like France and Italy and places like that, like Greece, like it's going to be very expensive to go to those places. But if you're wanting to go places like kind of like Prague and Poland, like places like that, it might be a little bit cheaper. So keep that in mind. And then it's also going to depend where you are flying out of. So I would try to, if you're kind of already researching where you want to study abroad, try to go somewhere more central because it's going to be cheaper. I know London is a great spot that a lot of people go to. It's not really central, but it's just a good hub in Europe. If your main reason for studying abroad is to travel to other places, try to find a place that is pretty central or is a big hub in Europe because flights are going to be cheaper out of there, and flights are probably going to be your heaviest expense, as well as like living expenses. So like where you're going to stay on the weekends and stuff like that are going to be your biggest expenses. So keep that in mind. Just research where you're going beforehand. As in terms of tuition and fees and all of that, that's just going to depend on your school. Apply for scholarships. There's tons and tons of scholarships out there. I fortunately just moved my scholarship that I have from my school to the summer. And so I really didn't have to pay, I think out of pocket, I paid like $200 for school. But then I covered all of my expenses. So like my flight was like $1,500, which is crazy. But I paid for that, and then I really just budgeted. I would just recommend, you know, sharing a meal with a friend. Take the bus when you can, take the train when you can, take the bus. Like I actually kind of enjoyed the bus. The Flixbuses run like all over in Europe, and they're very inexpensive, and sure, it might be like an 8-hour bus ride, and that sucks, but you can do one that's like overnight. And I don't know, it's just pretty, it's a different way. I would recommend taking all different forms of transportation because it can be a really cool experience. So I took a flight, I took a bus, and I took a train. To estimate, I spent about $1,500 for about 4.5 weeks in Europe, so about a month. So in about a month, I spent $1,500, but that included all of my meals. That included all of my travel expenses. So like weekend trips, I traveled to 3 different places besides the one that I was at on the weekends. Like going out expenses, clothing, souvenir, all of that. So for about a month, I spent $1,500, so I guess I would just take that into account. And obviously, if you're studying abroad for an entire semester, you're not going to be traveling every weekend. I would not recommend doing that because you're going to be so burnt out and you probably will not be doing good in your classes. I'd recommend traveling like every other weekend or something like that, kind of depending on your class schedule. Yeah, so 1 month in Europe cost me $1,500. I don't know if that's low or if that's high, but that's just what happened for me. But that included everything. That included airfare, that included living costs, everything. So there you go. That's kind of a budget that you can maybe live by. And that was me also doing a lot like splitting costs of food with friends, Ubers, like splitting the cost with that, going with a lot of people so you can split it between all of you. There's like little ways that you can save money. Was it hard not seeing your family for a while? So fortunately for me, I was only gone for a month. But at the end of that month, like I was definitely getting a little bit homesick. I know most people, when they study abroad for a semester, it's about 3 to 4 months. So it was about, they would be gone about 3 more months than I was gone. It's hard, but also you're so busy that I didn't really worry about it. I felt the times that I was kind of homesick or sad or whatever, it's because I was not busy and I was just kind of sitting there thinking in my thoughts. So if you don't want to be like that, I would just recommend getting out there, you know, talking to new people. Make sure you keep yourself busy, because when you're not busy is when you're sitting and thinking and being sad. So just like make sure you stay busy, talk to new people, make friends. And if you are sad, like it's okay to be sad. FaceTime your parents, call your parents if you have a data plan. You can, you know, text them, whatever. You know, look at old pictures on your phone or something like that. I think the easiest thing to do is just like FaceTime them and be like, hey, like just checking in. Like I'm sure your family misses you just as much as you miss them. And just a quick little check-in like that is always good. So that's what I recommend. You're definitely gonna miss them, but if you keep yourself busy, you'll miss them less. Do you have to know the language of the country that you are visiting? I know for most programs where you go for a whole semester, you do have to at least take like a couple foreign language classes just so you understand. A lot of their classes are in English, but I do know that some schools will do it in their language of whatever, you know, country that you're in. I personally did know a little bit of Czech. I didn't know a lot. I just knew enough to like get me by for basic things. Fortunately, most places in Europe, if you're studying abroad in Europe, or most places around the world, honestly, they do know English, and so that definitely works to your advantage, but they're not going to be like fluent in it. It can be hard to understand them sometimes, especially French, I noticed, can be very hard. Their accents typically are very thick, and it can be hard to understand what they're saying. That's just kind of my personal experience for the professors that I had that were French. But every person's experience is different. I would definitely say that it's super helpful to know the language of where you're going. I would go in at least knowing the very basics, like get on Duolingo, learn it, and that will definitely take you far, because in big cities, a lot of people speak English, but the more you go out into smaller cities, especially if you're visiting like a country, you're going to want to go to more like little cities in that country. You don't want to stay just in your hub. You want to get to know where you're at more. And so as the more far out you go from bigger cities, you're not going to find as many people that speak English. So just keep that in mind. Download Google Translate. You can literally download a language, and so you don't need to have like Wi-Fi or anything. You can use it like on the go whenever you don't have to have like Wi-Fi, internet. You can just look up anything at any time. So make sure you download languages. I'll talk about that more in that other video that I'm going to make, because there's lots of helpful tips with that. A lot of people are asking, what are the must-visit cities, countries, or places that you wish you had visited? So the countries that I visited, I went to Vienna my very first weekend. I'm going to be honest, I would not recommend going there. I mean, if you have time, I would go to Austria, but I would have rather have gone to Salzburg. That's where they filmed The Sound of Music, and it was just like, it was so dreamy. It was beautiful there. Very like country vibes. Vienna was more city vibes, I guess. It was just kind of an older vibe to it. I just said vibe like 20 times. There were just a lot of older people there. There wasn't really a lot of like bars or like going out places, which obviously that's not all that study abroad is about, but it's fun to like experience the nightlife of those cities, and that just like wasn't a thing there. And it was just kind of like dreary when I went there, and so it wasn't my favorite place to visit. I mean, I'm glad that I went. It was very beautiful, but I would probably not recommend going there. There's a lot of other places that I would have gone or wanted to go besides there. And then the second weekend I went to Paris. Definitely recommend going to Paris. That is just like, even if you've already been there, like go there, because there's probably places that you didn't go to. I was there for almost like 5 days, I think, and I like barely touched Paris. Like there's just so much to do there. Such a fun place to go. I would recommend going up in the Eiffel Tower if you go. Walk up it. It sucks because it's a lot of stairs, but it's so beautiful once you get to the top. So went there, would recommend going there. And then my last weekend, which was my very favorite weekend, was Budapest, Hungary. I go there 100%. That is like such a like college like nightlife. Like it was so awesome. Everything was like in walking distance. Like you could walk everywhere, which is kind of crazy. Sometimes it was like kind of longish walks, but it really like wasn't bad at all. Everything is so close to each other, which is kind of unheard of. Pretty much everywhere else we went, we had to take like Ubers everywhere, which was annoying because those can really add up, especially in Paris. But in Budapest, I don't think we took like any Ubers. We took an Uber like from the bus stop to our Airbnb, and then from the Airbnb to the bus stop. I don't think we took an Uber besides that. Like we just walked everywhere, which really wasn't that bad at all. Everything was super inexpensive there as well, and like I said, the nightlife was awesome. There were so many amazing places to go to. So if you go anywhere, I would go to Budapest and then also to Prague. That's where I studied abroad at, and it was also very inexpensive. Everything's pretty close to each other there as well, and it's just like a beautiful place. So underrated. Loved it. Other places I wish I would have visited, I wish I would have went to Amsterdam. Heard that was really awesome. Ireland looks absolutely beautiful. Italy is great. I had already been to Italy, so I didn't really want to go there again. Greece would be cool, but you kind of need, if you want to go to like the Greek islands, which is where most people want to go, you need to like have a long weekend. Like I'd kind of recommend maybe going at the end of study abroad, like extend your trip a little bit if you're able to do that for your visa or whatever. Maybe extend your trip and go to like the Greek islands for like a week or something like that. A weekend is just not long enough. It's a long process to get over there because you have to fly usually to Athens first, and then from Athens you have to get on a plane to go to like Santorini or wherever you're wanting to go over there. It's not like a direct flight situation, so just keep that in mind. Other places, Croatia, really pretty. Yeah, pretty much anywhere in Europe, I don't think you're gonna have like a bad time. So just research before, talk to other people that maybe studied abroad or visited those cities that you want to go to. But Budapest, Prague, number ones. Some people are asking if you like what time of the year you should study abroad. I think that's completely up to you and your schedule. I know the fall is beautiful. I personally never wanted to study abroad in the fall though, because I would miss like football, and I really love fall on my campus because it's beautiful. But if you really don't care about football, or you're okay with studying abroad and missing like your fall semester, most people study abroad their junior year, I would totally recommend it because it's beautiful in Europe, and also places are going to be like warmer. Because when you study abroad in the spring, which is what most people do, is study abroad in the spring, it's gonna be kind of cold and dreary most of the time. Most of the semester it's gonna rain a lot. The beginning of my study abroad, it was pretty cold and rainy, and by the end it was like hot. And so I studied abroad in the summer, which I loved. It was a month program. I felt like it was like the perfect amount of time. Because my school didn't have any business programs for the whole entire semester, and it was just too expensive for a semester. So I would say that if you really neither of those work for you, look for a summer program, even if it's just a month, even if it's just like a couple of weeks. I know my school also had like winter programs for like winter break, so that's also just a couple of weeks. So if study abroad for a whole semester is too expensive for you, look into like smaller programs, because it still gives you that experience, but you don't have to pay as much money basically. A lot of people are asking how to make the most of your time experience. I would just say to really like take in the moments. Don't like want to rush it, especially towards the end of my experience. I noticed that I kind of wanted to be like over, because it was very hot in Europe and they don't really believe in air conditioning, unfortunately. So I was kind of like dreading it. I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to be home with, you know, ice water and like air conditioning and stuff like that. But really just take in the moment. You will never have this experience again unless you like decide to study abroad again, which in that case, like, you'll have that experience again. But most people are only going to study abroad once, and just take in every moment, even the bad ones, because there will be moments that you will be like, wow, like, I just am done right now. A lot of traveling experiences are not always the best, but just take it in, laugh about it. Also learn to be in the moment as well and really get to know the people that you are traveling with and you are around. And the last question I'm going to answer is, how did you decide where to go? This was actually, it was kind of easy and hard for me at the same time. My school had a lot of different programs for the summer. They had one in China, they had one in Prague, Spain, France, and Italy. And so it took me a while to kind of decide where I wanted to go, but in the end I made the choice based on the one that kind of worked with my summer schedule the best and also was the most cost effective, and Prague was the cheapest one, which I think worked out the best for me. I think it was the best program for me to choose. I didn't want to go in Italy because I'd already been there before, so I would try to go somewhere that you haven't necessarily visited before. And I would say if you maybe don't know any languages but you really want to study abroad, maybe try to choose somewhere like London, because that obviously they speak like English, so maybe choose somewhere like that, or somewhere that maybe they speak a lot of English. I don't know, because that is going to be huge for you. If you're going to a school where they might have classes that are in their language, you're not going to want to go there because obviously those classes are going to be like very, very challenging. So I'd recommend going somewhere like London or a little bit more central to that area. It just kind of depends on you though, how much money is in your budget. If you can afford something a little bit more expensive, you might be able to go to more expensive places like Italy or Spain, places like that. But if you want to save money, then try to go somewhere that is cheaper. It just kind of depends though. You have to look into programs. I would talk to your advisor as soon as you know that study abroad is something that you want to do, because they're going to help you a lot. We have like an international center at my school, and so they're able to help people a lot. This is a really long video. Hopefully this gives you lots of good advice though. If you have any more questions, feel free to DM me or comment down below. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions about studying abroad. Even though I only studied abroad for a month, I feel like I definitely got like the full experience. I had to go through all the same stuff that most people do whenever they study abroad, so I would love to answer any of your questions, or if I don't know it, I can probably ask one of my friends that has studied abroad and get back to you about it. So that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep on the lookout for more study abroad videos. If you have any other videos that you would like about study abroad or college or whatever, leave them down below. And yeah, happy 2020. See you guys in the next video. Bye guys.